Push.
And we're live on the living force.
Look at that. Feel it. I feel different. I feel energized.
Feel the force. I feel it in my guts.
Feel it. Feel it rumbling in your tumbly on this Monday day. Starting strong, baby. All right. Oh, Timothy Guthrie, can't stay, but much love. Much love to you too, buddy. I hope you have a great Monday evening.
Such an aggressive start. You're right, Heather. It is an aggressive start, but it's better.
It's an aggressive start.
It's better than an aggressive fart.
And on that note, welcome everyone to episode 46 of the Living Force
That
Podcast.
cannot be the opening of this show, Eric. Try again. I've never cut off the intro before, but that is not okay.
All right, Matt, give us a little remix on that one.
Don't put that shit in there. Don't do it.
You have to mark it out. You have to tell them in the editorial channel not to, or else it all stays in.
Oh God, that's true. All right, let's talk about something else for a minute. I want a new intro for real.
Anything else, guys? I started playing Final Fantasy 15 today because it's on Game Pass for free.
Did you play the first 14 first?
No.
Okay.
You don't know what's
I was
going
like,
on.
I get it, right? They got spiky hair and big gun swords. And the first 10 minutes of the game, we're just pushing a car down the freeway.
What?
That was
What?
it. It was just pushing a car. It ran out of gas.
I've never played a Final Fantasy game.
That sounds
Me
nothing
neither.
like
Imagine my surprise.
Hmm.
Carol Jax, what's up?
Nice.
Welcome.
Oh man, you guys want to hear something crazy?
Yes.
Absolutely.
One of my childhood best friends just won a Busch beer themed Mustang
No.
from it was like a
Wait, what?
sweepstakes for Daytona, and he's a big like NASCAR fan, and so he just entered that junk, and he sent me the screenshot of the email and the picture of the car, and he won.
Holy crap! That's like
But the full thing is like a skin that looks like a Busch beer can. Like, I don't know if you
Is it
guys
the orange one?
No, it's like
Okay.
it's the you see it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He won that. And so I immediately I was like, "You're selling that, right?" And he was like, "Nope."
He's gonna drive it. That's so
Taking
funny.
the wife and kids to work.
So I work in Bristol. The Bristol Motor Speedway is here. I've always wanted to go to a NASCAR race. I might have to go. It's really expensive though.
Yeah,
Is
it
it?
seems it.
Yeah, it's really expensive. Tickets are like $200 to $300 a piece, I think, or maybe less than that, $150. But they're expensive still.
Man.
But everybody
Man.
says going live is a completely different experience than like just watching it on TV, because you're like, wow, these cars are actually going really fast and they're really loud, and man, there's a lot of drunk people here.
Yeah.
We know
Even
what else
before
is
you get in.
fast and loud and has a lot of really drunk people? Episode 46 of the Living Force Podcast. Everybody, welcome one and all. I am one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and with me, as always, or recently, are both of the doctors, Dr. Corey Helton, hello,
Hello.
and Dr. Charles Henkel, hey, buddy.
What is going on?
Oh, and our man behind the keys, our man in the chair all the way back from Texas is Wes in his new desk configuration. Hey, bud.
Hey, y'all.
All right. How is everyone doing? How's everyone's Monday going?
Mondays suck, Eric.
Yes, they do. We've had long ones, I think, all around. Did Charles have the least long Monday for the first time in ever?
Yeah. I actually had a decent day. There was only 27 admissions by noon for the newborn service.
Is that real?
Yeah, that's real. That's real,
Oh
man.
my God.
But then I had 3 no-shows in my afternoon clinic. But then I had to send someone to the emergency room. So it's an up and down. It's a roller coaster of a Monday. But we're here now, so it's a high.
We are here now. I tried to crash an audition today that had over 78 people try to go before me before 10 a.m. And it was a roller coaster of craziness. But we are here to talk about one thing and one thing only. Corey, how are your terrariums?
Man, the terrariums are catching on. Jared posted in our Discord earlier that him and his daughter built one tonight, which is fantastic. I'm so glad my hobbies are rubbing off on people. My terrariums are good. You want to see them? They're over here on my desk. At least I just got one over here. Ta-da! There's my terrarium.
Amazing.
That one plant is looking a little yellow, though, but, it's going to do good. It's going to do good.
It's very pretty. Well, I'm glad that Terrarium Talk is taking over the Utini Discord. If you our valiant listeners have terrariums, feel free to jump into Cantina Talk at the Utini Discord, because apparently that is the place to go for pictures of our pets and pictures of our plants.
Plants and pets.
Couple other things that have been going on, my friends. Meg Dowell, one of our amazing content creators, and myself were over on Friends of the Force, a podcast we dearly love, hosted by our friend Brad. This past week, or I guess last week at this point, Meg and I talked all about Project Luminous with Brad and had a great time. So we want to give a quick shout out over to that show if you can't get quite enough of my voice only on here. And on that note, we know that a lot of you guys don't only listen to our podcast. It's okay. We forgive you. We'll make it through this. But you probably have a lot of awesome Star Wars podcasts on your feed. And what we want to know is, who would you like us to try to get on this show? Or whose shows would you like us to try to guest on? The Star Wars podcast community is huge. It is friendly. It is loving. And we would love to get more voices on this show to make your lives better. So either on Twitter at Living Force Pod, you can tell us who you want to get on the show. Tag them if you want to start that conversation for us. Jump into our utini.com/Discord channels. Tell us who you want, and maybe we can get them on the show. Because, guys, I love you, but I need to spice it up right now. It's not getting stale, but you know what I mean? I need some fun. I need some flavor.
Yeah, I would love to have some more folks on the show. I mean, we went through a spell there. We had a lot of different folks on the show, and we were on a bunch of different shows. And Rise of Skywalker took off, and everybody kind of comes back to their homes, right? Like a turtle, they got to get back in their shell and talk about the wars. But now we're in this sort of dry spell, and might be a good time to sort of reach out. So if you guys got podcasts you really like and listen to, and want us to try to get hooked up with, maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't, but we can at least shoot an email. So let us know.
Yeah, we'll try. We got Juliana over in the chat saying, get Force Center. Awesome. We'll give them a shot. I know you've been talking about them in Discord as well. Would love to get anything we can.
Yeah.
All right, a couple podcast updates for you fine folks. We got a new patron this week, Cheryl. Cheryl jumped into our Discord and jumped onto our Patreon, came over from that Friends of the Force show. So we wanted to say, hey, we've loved chatting with you so far on our channels. We hope you feel welcome in our community. And then my buddy Chris Richmond upgraded to the Inquisitorious level in our Patreon. So he is going to get all the lovely benefits from the first 2 tiers, as well as access to the exclusive Aftermath show, which we have been way too busy and tired to do lately. But tonight, it's going down. So if you are in our Inquisitorious level, you're watching live on Monday night, stick around after the show. We're going to hang for a bit. It's going to be unrecorded, unscripted, and really cool.
Did not know where you were going with that.
I didn't have a third one. I don't know. but on that note, with our new patrons, thank you so much. Again, it means the world that you guys are giving money to us to do this thing. We hope you like the content we're putting out. And at this point, we only have $17 left until we hit the Lost Stars Roundtable Patreon goal.
Hurry up. I want to read that book.
Yeah. Corey's asked to read it, and we have to burn every copy he touches until we get that. It's horrible. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
But I don't make the rules, y'all.
We're close. Last time we said this, we were close to Queen's Shadow, and it happened in like 2 days. So if that happened again, that'd be amazing. One, for the money, because the closer we get to big stuff, the more we can actually afford to do things like Celebration.
And two for the show.
2 for the show, because I'm really, really excited to read Lost Stars again, because it's been a long time since I've read that. So it gives us an excuse to kind of take aside from all the news and the happening and force us to kind of sit down and revisit a book that we love. So I would love to do that.
Totally. And even if you can't afford to support the show, that's totally fine. We get it. What we would love you to do is to go over to iTunes, hit us with that 5 stars, and hit us with a couple lines in a personalized review. They do help us a lot, and they make our days just that much happier. And be sure to head over to utini.com when you're done. Check out our latest reviews, articles, and comprehensive book profiles on every story in the Star Wars galaxy. All right, let's transition to book news, guys. This weekend in my city, there was C2E2 at the Chicago Comic-Con Comic Expo. I was not able to go.
It's a mouthful.
But I know, it was terrible. But a lot of cool people did get to go. There was awesome cosplay. There was awesome panels. But as far as we're concerned, there was one huge, huge event. And that was Del Rey's surprising limited release of the Rise of Skywalker novelization. Like 3 weeks early.
Yeah. which is wild because we don't even have our arcs yet.
Nope.
Our review copies that they send us. We don't have those yet, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, but people got to buy them on the showroom floor. There was a panel with Ray Carson who was interviewed. Laura over at Force Toast, over at Force Toast Pod, did a great Twitter thread of that whole panel. If you want some insider information about what Ray said about the book, she talked about some of the things she got to research in there, some of her favorite things about writing the novelization. It was really fun. But then a lot of pages started popping up all over Twitter and stuff and Reddit.
It's got to been a nightmare. There's like so many spoilers everywhere.
Yeah. So
and people
are
okay. One interesting thing I want to point out. Sorry to interrupt, Eric.
Go for it.
People don't put spoiler tags on pictures of book pages, which is bullcrap. All right, I
Yes.
don't know why that's being allowed on so many subreddits and stuff, but like people just post a book with a major spoiler. They're like, "Oh, the movie's not already been out, so I guess it doesn't count." I'm like, "Yeah, it does. That's like a big deal." So I've like seen like 2 or 3 small spoilers already, and it's kind of irritating.
Same here. I mean, there's like
Mhm.
main headlines of like big websites that have been giving away a couple points in the book that are like, this is confirmed in the novelization about what this character was and everything.
Yeah.
So
Which
heads up, if you haven't seen it already, it's out there. Just be careful.
Right. So I'm happy to get attention to the literature, but it feels like it's really just clickbait because it's the movie and there's more details in there and causing controversy because there's details in there that probably should have been in the film and vice versa, right? And it's a little irritating. I'm happy to have more books, but you know, it is what it is. I guess it's just the age of high-profile movies when they get books. But Last Jedi didn't do this. I don't remember getting all this headlined with the Last Jedi novelization. Do you guys?
Oh, not at all. But I think
No.
we've been pretty honest about the Last Jedi novelization being good, but also basically just being kind of a retread of the movie. There
Yeah,
weren't a
that's
lot
true.
of things, and it sounds like this novelization is doing what we hoped in our preview episodes.
Yeah.
We hoped that it would be adding a lot more, and it sounds like that's exactly what Ray Carson's
Yeah.
doing.
The couple of spoilers I have come across are very reassuring. So
Yes.
I'm just really excited to read the book. And
Yeah. And on that note, we're not going to take a lot of time with this, but I just really quickly wanted to address when that novelization got released at Chicago, like there was a ton of positive reception. People were so excited. I mean, that's honestly why they started posting the pages, because they were so excited. We get it. We're also excited about Star Wars things. But a lot of people did take that opportunity to read those pages and then tweet angrily at Ray Carson about not changing certain things about the movie. Real quick, official Living Force podcast stance: do not tweet at creators any type of harassment at all. They, especially authors that are doing novelizations, they cannot change things about movies you didn't like. That is not part of their job. And tagging them in tweets, especially writers who are kind of notoriously more private people and are just trying to like write and create from the, you know, their own homes and things, really makes them feel pretty terrible. So don't be mean. I guess I feel like we had a long episode about this last year, and unfortunately the whole internet kind of needs a reminder this weekend. So
not the whole
they're
internet,
people.
just the
That's true. That's
really
true.
crappy
The loud
part of
minority.
internet, the very loud minority. You know, I can't imagine that any of our Discord users or friends of the show
No.
are out there being douchebags. If you are, then you might as well just go ahead and leave our Discord because we're not cool with that. So yeah, I mean, it sucks that we have to even have this conversation, but again, this is a high-profile piece of media. It's not really necessarily surprising that we're
No.
here having this conversation, but it doesn't make it any less crappy. What was your tweet? You read it earlier, Eric. You said it was your most retweeted tweet of all time.
Yeah, my most liked tweet of all time is said, just a reminder, guys, Ben Solo is fake, Ray Carson is real.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the grief comes out of love for Ben Solo and wanting to like change his death and things like that. But Ray Carson is a real person, and if you want to complain about things in media, that's your right to do. Just don't tag them. Don't tag people
Right.
in them, and you can kind of say what you want. Tom, who is an editor, he's at Darth Internus on Twitter. He said, "I wish I could tell you that the intensity of Star Wars discourse, or the way some readers feel it is appropriate to treat writers, hasn't had an impact on finding new authors willing to write for Star Wars. I wish I could tell you that. I really, really do." So it's basically admitting that.
That's a really hard-hitting statement, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
he's essentially saying that, you know, they've asked people to be a writer for Star Wars, and those folks are like, I'm gonna really have to think about this, and then they come up with a decision that no, I don't want to face the wrath of the Star Wars fandom, which is really crappy. I mean,
Yeah. And that tweet got liked by people like Rebecca Rowanhorse and E.K. Johnston and Daniel Jose Older. And they're like, I mean, because they all had to have those meetings, and that probably is part of like any actor getting into a media franchise. Like, do you understand what you're accepting? So
Right.
I would just encourage people as you're going forward. I'm so proud of this community and this Discord and the Twitter profiles that we follow of our people. If someone was to go through your Twitter page and as an author, they said, hey, we're going to give you a Star Wars book. Check out this fan's account. This is what you have to deal with. Would they scroll through your page and be like, oh, cool. That seems like a great community I would love to be a part of. Just going to check ourselves every once in a while. That's all.
Yeah. And here's a challenge. Here's an extra challenge on top of that. If you see something tweeted at someone specifically, like Ray Carson, that's really negative and an attack and is inflammatory, and you're a fan of that person, let them know. A lot of times the good things go unsaid. It's just all the angry stuff that you see out there. But consider yourself, to be a fount of positivity if you're a part of this community. So if you see Ray Carson getting attacked, send her a little bit of love. It'll take 5 seconds, and I bet it would actually make a really big difference.
100%. And review their books on both utini.com and like Goodreads, Amazon. Like if you love books, send reviews their way. They would love to hear it. Final thing about C2E2, they also released a poster of the High Republic of the First Light of the Jedi book cover. So if anyone was lucky enough to snag those, good for you. It's freaking gorgeous. I can't wait for that. All right. On a much happier note, my friends, we're going to go into our book review section of the show. Every week we try to highlight some book reviews that were put over on utini.com. People go on their book profiles, they look up the book they want, they scroll to the bottom, they give a star rating as well as a couple lines, and we have 3 that I've chosen. First, we have Force Collector, which was reviewed by Ryan P. Gave it a 3 out of 5 and said, the Force is fun with this one. Very cute. And he said, a quick, enjoyable, if fairly uneventful in the grand scheme of things, Star Wars story. The gimmick of Carr revisiting moments from the films through Force visions was entertaining. It felt strange to me seeing Maze's First Order dad act like basically any other concerned father, rather than your typical ruthless FO type. As a 41-year-old parent of 2, I found myself relating more to the parents than the main characters and envisioning how I'd feel if my kids ran away from home on a galaxy-spanning adventure. So maybe I'm not the target audience here. But question for you guys. Have you guys found that as you've gotten older, you started to relate to different characters in Star Wars media a little more? Or have you stayed pretty consistent with your favorite characters and stuff?
Question. I don't know that I know the answer to that. I mean, I think I've changed less, like whether I can relate to a character, and really more of just I find myself liking characters for different reasons now. I guess is a better way to put it.
Oh, sure.
Like I will find characters that I find annoying, or I will sort of see negative traits, and I kind of look at them from a different perspective now of just like, maybe I'm supposed to dislike this character, or there's a reason for them to exist. And who is this character going to speak to? Because that audience is in the reading community somewhere. So I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm biased because I'm so involved in this community. But like, I don't dislike stuff that I read as much as I used to. I just accept it for what it is and just think that somebody else is getting a lot of joy out of that.
Yeah, I think
Love that.
it's just I get a deeper understanding for the characters. I think I understand them on multiple levels now, probably as opposed to not doing that so much, obviously, when I was younger. But I don't think I've like 180'd on any characters or anything like that. What? No, that's a lie. You know what? Dooku. Kevin Scott's Dooku Jedi Lost actually pretty much flipped me on Dooku. I really enjoy him.
I think it did the same to me too. I don't know that I ever really liked Dooku until after Jedi Lost.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. And like we talked about with Queen Shadow after we read it, sometimes a reread when you're older or re-examining as you get older can change your opinion on things. And it's always good to evolve more and to enjoy stuff as much as you can.
Yes. And this is actually a really good time to mention, like, contrary to popular belief, you are allowed to change your opinion when you have opinions.
Absolutely.
We have this weird culture of like saying you have to just choose a side and then you stick to it, whether that's in politics or Star Wars, and that's not true. I mean, you can change your mind about plenty of things. We talk about that a lot with books. Charles and I we vocally disliked Queen Shadow a little bit more than Eric did. Like, I mean, he really loved it, and we were kind of the devil's advocate a little bit. Now I would say that I love that book now. My wife, I just got her to listen to it. Went a big road trip this week, and she loved it. So, in this it's interesting we bring this up in this episode because of the novelization that's coming out and all the drama that's happening. And if you didn't like The Rise of Skywalker that much, give the novelization a chance and maybe it'll make you fall in love with the film, because it's okay to change your mind about things. In fact, I encourage
100%.
you to try to change your mind about things, especially when you initially have a negative experience.
100%. Love that. Speaking of healing yourself, as it were, in your mind, our next book is MedStar 2 Jedi Healer, which was reviewed by Toasted Zen, one of our Timothys. He gave it 4 out of 5. Says, don't mind Joss and Barris. They're both first-rate surgeons. Says, this novel expands on the character building from MedStar 1 Battle Surgeons, and in a way in which I feel is an improvement on the previous action-packed installment. The world building here is top-notch Legends material. Star Wars names and places and slang peppered liberally throughout. These two MedStar books are a true duology. Both books need each other, and the foundation the first book creates allows book 2 to be the story it could not be without that foundation. This book is the MASH in space I expected, and very enjoyable.
I like
So
it.
awesome. Have either of you guys read the MedStar books?
I
As
have,
surgeons, we've
but
talked about them a little.
It's been a long time. A long
I
time.
haven't.
It's
I
been-
never have. I think it's very interesting to read it from a Star Wars perspective and then a medical perspective as well.
Yeah, that would be a fun. I don't know where we could even throw that. A Patreon reward. See, it's not like it's like obscure enough of a Legends book that it probably shouldn't be a Patreon reward. Maybe we can talk.
Maybe
Jared
that'll be
into
a
doing it.
future Legends look back
Yeah, that'd
episode.
be
Maybe
good.
we'll do
Do
that.
Charles, you and I can tag team it and both go on talking about battle surgeons. I think it
Burst
was.
everyone's bubble. Back to does not exist.
Yes, it does not exist.
That'd be amazing. Well,
It
hey,
does
keep your eyes
exist. It's
peeled if that happens.
Prednisone is back to tanks.
Prednisone is
That's
back.
why.
to
That's why the Luke action figures after Empire were super ripped, since he was floating in a vat of steroids.
You heard it here
Yes.
first. We figured it out. All right,
man.
our last review this week is from one of our favorite reviewers, P. Matty Ice, reviewed Darth Bane Rule of 2,
Oh man,
giving it 5 out of 5 stars.
I haven't
Correct.
I haven't even read this yet. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, he says breaking the rules. He says much better than I remembered. My goodness, I had forgotten so much about Rule of 2. This is some of the best Star Wars, and you don't want to miss it. This book goes beyond the usual storytelling of having good versus evil. Our main characters use deception and cunning to use their enemies against each other, and the dark side is explored heavily as we learn both about Bane and the Sith of the past. I'd say to check this one out, no doubt.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
That's what I got to say about that.
Darth Zana
Whew.
is an incredible Sith. I'm pretty sure that that her character really paved the way for what a Sith sorcerer is, and her use of dark side stuff in the third Bane book. It is the third one, right? Yeah.
Y-
No.
Yes.
Wait, is it the third one or the second one?
Right?
Maybe it's the second one. Shoot, I can't remember.
Path of Destruction, Rule of 2, and then Dynasty
Okay,
of
it's the
Evil,
second
right?
one. All right, so I think we get a lot of Darth Zana stuff in this one. I think it's mostly the third one, but man, the Sith sorcerer stuff is incredible. She uses all this crazy dark side magic and makes people like experience their worst fears, to where they're like a worthless shell of a person inside of a body because they're all like
Yeah.
shriveled up on the ground because they've experienced such emotional trauma. And it's just like, bruh, that is sick.
Yeah, and hey, a little teaser. If you want us to talk a little more about Darth Bane, stick around until the second half of the episode. We may be bringing that name up again. But if you want your book reviews on this show, head over to utini.com, look up your book on the book profile, scroll down to the bottom, add a star rating, add your user review, and we will see if we can get it on the show. All right, last few Utini updates. We have a few new Patreon exclusives that are up right now or will be up very soon following our live show. First of all, the three of us, yes, I did not stutter, the three of us were all on an episode of Bounty Hunt together. We talked about the second episode of the 7th season of the Clone Wars, A Distant Echo. Little spoiler for our thoughts. Freaking loved it. It was
Yeah.
great.
It was a lot of
This
fun.
season is amazing.
Yeah, Clone Wars is really off to a great start, and we're experiencing it differently than The Mandalorian, which is very interesting. So, if you're missing those shows, head over to Patreon. We'd love to have you. I think you can get that for what, $5 a month, I'm pretty sure.
$5 a month. That gets you the extra shows.
That's right. So, if you're really cheap like me, then what you can do is wait till we finish all the Clone Wars episodes. Give us $5. You can go back and listen to all of them. So there's definitely an option.
That's true, Corey.
It is true. I probably shouldn't be saying it on the show, but I mean, a lot of folks, they feel like
Yeah, true.
$5 is
You
a
can do that.
lot to contribute. Online.
Yeah.
So if you want to just
Go
support the
for
show
it.
in a small way and eventually get some stuff, you can do that right now with the Mandalorian. That's what I was trying
Totally.
to get to. So
In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's worth $5 right now just to find out which member of Bad Batch each of us is.
yeah, that's true.
That's right. We did go through that, and we also at West we added you into that. I don't know if
He
when you
doesn't
listen to
even
that,
know.
we assigned
Who
you
do
a
you
Bad
think
Batch
you would
member.
be? Well, we're not going to tell you. No one is
Oh,
going to tell you. Who do you think you would?
Please tell me that y'all picked heavy.
No,
Please tell
Bad
me I'm
Batch.
heavy. Oh, the Bad Batch. Sorry. I was just thinking about the other one.
Who are you, Wes?
Crosshair. Am I Crosshair?
All right, no spoilers. Find out.
Go listen to Bounty Hunt and you'll know.
right.
All right, a couple other
Openly-
things that you can listen to right now. There's a Legends Look Back episode with the courtship of Princess Leia featuring Stacy on her team, who has been pounding the drum for that book ever since she got hired for the first time. And also coming in up very soon, I believe either this week or next week, Darth Plagueis, one of the top Legends books, finally got talked about with Trevor on our team. And if you have talked to Trevor in Discord, you will know he is an extensive Legends enthusiast. He makes up all kinds of additional guides for himself with short stories and things. So you definitely don't want to miss his thoughts on Plagueis.
Yeah, that's going to be like a 47-hour podcast.
For real, man. Oh, it is going to be great. And as we said, if you want access to those extra shows, join us over on patreon.com/Utini. $5 a month, you get all those extra shows. For $2 a month, you get this show on a Thursday instead of a Friday, and we go from there. All right, before we take our break before our main part of the show, which will be all about the ideal Star Wars reading order, I wanted to address a couple Project Luminous things. Because in the week since Project Luminous's reveal, guys, it's only been like a week. Can you imagine that? It feels like it's been a year. We got some clarifications on stuff. First thing, Kevin Scott's High Republic comic. Last week we mentioned that, hey, maybe it's going to be something like the Nile or the workings of the Beacon. We didn't quite know. He did clarify his comic does feature Keeve Trennis, a newly minted Jedi, stationed on the Starlight Beacon. And for fans of Dooku Jedi Lost, Keeve Trennis becomes one of the Lost 20. So Kevin Scott gets to write her story.
Wow. That's really
Freaking
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I can't believe they revealed that this week. That's pretty rad. We were talking about it. Was that a bounty hunt? We were talking about that. I think it was. That's pretty crazy. I want more Lost 20 stuff. Like, those stories are fantastic. Give me a novel just with 20 chapters that have the 20 stories of the Lost 20. That's what I want.
Yes, 20 for 20. It's like an ESPN 30 for 30.
Yes.
I'm all about it. Also, quick interjection.
What if I
As
could-
we're talking, I would love that. As we're talking right now, guys, Emma Miller just pledged $5 to Patreon and is going to get those Legends Look Back and Bounty Hunt shows. So thank you so much, Emma. It's like we spoke it
Welcome to
into
the family.
existence. Lost Stars, closer and closer and closer, everybody. Couple of other Luminous updates. If you didn't see on Twitter, which is usually a fiery death trap, sometimes it's fun because the Project Luminous crew
Sometimes it's
decided.
fun.
Sometimes it's fun. The Project Luminous crew authors decided to go to Galaxy's Edge together after the event last week. And if you go on any of their personal Twitters, it's so much fun. They're in front of the Falcon together. They're on the Falcon together. Claudia Gray and Kevin Scott are dancing in Oga's Cantina together. It's the cutest thing ever. So if you want to see how much our most important authors going forward love Star Wars, it's all over there. I really love that a lot. And they all really seem like good friends. That's one thing I'm noticing about the Luminous crew. The more they interact on Twitter, the more they talk in interviews, they really seem like buddies. And I feel like that's not the thing we see from authors that blatantly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Love it. Love, love, love it. And finally, there's been some people that have been like talking about, oh, why does the whiteboard in Project Luminous say diversity and dinosaurs? That's all crazy. Shut up. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great.
Yes.
Relax.
Right.
Ugh.
Dinosaurs.
All right. Well, on that note, everybody, we are going to take about an on time. I was going to say earlier, I think we have an on time break right now. When we come back, we are going to go over the official Utini reading order. Why did we create it? What is the criteria we have? And what are the first, 10 or 20 books you should read if you're new to Star Wars? We'll be back in just a moment. Officially live.
Yes. Okay. Now we're live on the internet, so
All right, we're live back again. Adam, what's up, dude? See you coming in there. Welcome.
man, we
Sorry for being
had
late.
Charles. We talked about it briefly previously, but
Mhm.
man, you missed probably the best Battlefront sesh we've ever had the other night.
I
Oh,
heard.
was
I'm
amazing.
glad.
great, man.
It was amazing. We just played Battlefront and talked about real stuff like politics and mental health for like 5 hours. It was incredible.
It was great. It was really nice.
Yeah,
So-
it was a lot of fun. Emma was there. Adam was there.
And I was there.
And Timothy was there.
And Timothy was there, right?
Yep,
Because we had
there.
5 for a second. We had to go play Blast instead of co-op. It was
We got our
weird.
butts handed to us. It was not fun. Then we're like, let's go play.
We're
this.
never very good at the actual playing Battlefront, but we have a great time.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
it.
That's what it's all about.
Although, but before we go live, Heather, I see you. Always read in either chronological or publication order. There is no other way.
Can we just delete that comment really fast and then fire Heather from our team?
I think so.
Hey, Heather, remember you used to work here? Hi, Steph.
Used to.
My friend Steph is watching.
Oh,
Ed,
nice.
we should have a countdown for how long our breaks are. We would do that if we had any idea on how long that would be.
we can do that. We should do that. I can build a simple countdown clock so we have exactly a 2-minute break. It's fine.
How long does it
It
take
all
for us,
depends-
on average, to get a beer, pee, say things
Yeah.
that aren't appropriate for live stream, and then come back?
That's right.
It's about 2 minutes.
We need data. We'll start recording.
All right, great. All right, you guys ready to go back?
I was
Yes.
born ready.
All right, Matt.
Ugh, that
Hey,
is
buddy.
Not
Hope you're
good
doing great.
beer. Oh, sorry.
What are you drinking?
Ah, God, what is this? Hold on.
Sorry, Matt. Hold on.
I don't think I can drink this.
Why do you have that?
The first sip is pretty good, but man,
What
that
is it?
aftertaste is bad. It's called Hop Perfect IPA by Yazoo Brewing Company.
Did somebody leave that at your
I
house?
don't know. I bought it. I bought a 6-pack of this.
Oh
Where's
no!
it at?
You always build your own
It's
to find the
in
new
Nashville,
ones.
Tennessee. Here's the bottle. It says Hop Perfect.
I like the
IPA.
label.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah,
but
that
good
is how I
God.
buy beer
What
usually.
is the IBU on this thing? Because it's like that first taste is like, okay, this is
Like Epicac.
That Family Guy clip. I feel fine.
yes.
I
I can't drink this. I gotta do something different. I'll be back.
sorry.
This is why we can't have countdowns or nice
That's exactly it.
I'm gonna go on YouTube and look up that clip.
That Family Guy clip.
Movie.
Apparently, Wes and I are of a similar humor, just from what we've discussed this break.
Oh, I miss drinking. I think this is a Journeyman Distillery whiskey. Is that? I don't have the bottle by me, but it's from Traverse City, Michigan. Is it Traverse City? I don't know. It's somewhere in Michigan. My buddy got it for me for my birthday. It's pretty smoky, so I had
Mhm.
to nurse it, but it's pretty nice.
All right, get some trusty Corona. It's hard to go wrong with that.
Where's the Natty Light lemonade recently?
I got crapped on so much for drinking Natty Light on the show. I quit buying it thanks to you a-holes.
Dude, it tastes good. Well, also, it's not a winter drink.
That's
I
true.
think that's a summer
I
drink.
haven't seen it a lot actually. I haven't. I've looked for it every once in a while, but I haven't seen
I
it.
got discontinued, man.
It better not have gotten discontinued. It's my only Natty Light I've ever had that's worth drinking.
Whatever will you do without your Natty Light? You have to go to the high table of Corona
Yeah,
instead.
summertime's almost here.
We're gonna natty ice the crap out of you at Celebration.
Oh my God!
Lots
yes.
of Natty Light. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be bad. Y'all get to drive me home. I hope if you're gonna.
Oh no! Whatever y'all buy me at Celebration, I will drink. There we go. Putting
Okay.
that on for all our live
I'm just
people.
gonna, I'm gonna bring a
All right.
flask with some gasoline and antifreeze in it, so we can get rid of your.
It'll taste
forbid.
better than Malort. Shout out Chicago people.
Tastes better than that IPA I just had. That was trash. Don't buy that.
All right. All right. Well, speaking of trash, let's do this show that we do again. Let's be better.
Ugh.
Let's make a problem to be better. Now that Corey has his coronavirus beer.
Yes.
All right. Here we go, Matt. For real now. Sorry about that, buddy.
That was my fault. Sorry.
And we are back. Corey has a Corona. We have a will to live and talk about Star Wars books. Here we go. That was a pretty good intro. I stopped it because I was surprised at how energetic it was. It's like when a dog farts and wakes itself up. It goes, whoa. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
What an incredible analogy on the second part. of
Thank
the
you.
Living
Thank
Force.
you. All right. So, one thing hilariously that when we started Utini, we said we never wanted to do
Never
was
ever.
create.
You can't make us do it. We're not doing it.
Can't create a reading order because we're very staunch about there's no right order to read Star Wars books. A lot of the orders online get it wrong, and it doesn't seem like there's a good way to do it. But the last year, this changed. Corey, take us through the process of how we got to where we are right now.
Yes. Okay. So before we dive in too terribly deep, what we're talking about is the official Utini reading order. At one point, we called this the Utini Ideal Reading Order. We've kind of changed it around a little bit. I've been calling it the just official Utini Reading Order since then. Because, I don't know that there really is an ideal reading order. We've put a lot of work into this one, and maybe this one's the best, but let's talk about it. Okay, so the question was, why did we create this reading order? Well, the biggest reason is just like Eric said, most of the other reading orders that are online are not very good, in my opinion. The two most common sort of reading orders recommended, maybe whether that be on Reddit or Facebook or Twitter, when someone asks, hey, I've never read a Star Wars book, I want to start reading them in some kind of order, what should I do? The two orders people always reference are chronological order and publishing order. And both of those have some cool positive benefits, but most of them are not very good. There's a lot of things that are huge drawbacks for both of those reading orders, which we can dive into in depth. But basically, we created the Utini reading order because we just kind of disagreed with recommending those blanket. So we've kind of created something different.
Yeah, so we decided that instead of going straight publishing, straight chronological, themed, we made a tiered system. So our reading order has 4 levels in it. And the 4 levels are as follows. Level 1, you must read. These books are some of the best books to read first. They're the highest quality. They're important to the EU as a whole and are an absolute blast to read. If you're trying to find the best parts of canon and legends alike, that's key. We have canon and legends in all of these. Level 1 books should be your first priority. All right? Level 2, should read. They're good. There's nothing wrong with being good. These books may not be as perfect as those in the level above them, but they all still maintain a high level of quality and can promise a lot of fun for the reader. Once you've finished level 1, level 2 should be your next goal if you're seeking the most well-rounded experience. Level 3, could read. Get to these books when you finished off the gems in levels 1 and 2. A lot of these books will vary dramatically in quality, often offer an average to mediocre experience. Get to them if you like, because sometimes you don't have to be too picky, because it's a Star Wars book after all. Level 4, you can skip. There's very few in this level. They're controversial, they're occasionally just kind of bad, and generally disliked by the community as a whole. That doesn't mean you won't enjoy them, by all means, but consider this a level of diminishing returns.
All right, pause.
So, guys.
Pause real quick.
Eric,
yeah.
your audio just went to crap. Did you hit something on your mic?
I did not. Hold on.
It's still kind of like buzzy and faint.
Yeah, I'm hearing kind of a clicky something.
Sorry, y'all. Hold on.
Right, roughly, you write this
Have
down.
you tried turning it off and turning it back on?
Stop.
Although, to be, what episode is this? 46? 46 episodes in, to have an audio malfunction right in the middle is pretty good.
No.
No, is it your
Negative.
computer mic? Sound like
No,
it's coming.
hold on.
Sound like it's coming through your computer mic.
All right. No, it says it should be my snowball.
No, it's terrible.
It's getting worse.
I stopped it in Audacity. I'm trying to listen to comparison.
So this is kind of like when, so this week on my way to work, I forgot to tell you guys about this. On my way, Wes is playing backgrounds. All right, I gotta switch to this because it's already screwed up. Look at Wes. Look at this crap. Revan.
Man, that's fucking cool.
Jesus, Wes.
All right, continue.
So this week, that's what I was saying. I forgot to tell you guys about this. I've been working on my Jeep, trying to get it running again. I drove it to work, and my alternator died on the way to work. And it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark outside, and my headlights just start getting dim. And I'm like, oh God. I turned around and tried to make it home and didn't make it back before my car died. So
How'd you know it was your alternator? Did you hit it with
Eric,
the wrench?
you sound like crap. Can't hear anything.
Okay.
What happened? It was weird. It like sounded like it clicked out and lagged out.
It happened. Yeah, like happened
How-
while you were
My
talking.
webcam, yeah.
I-
My mic is now unplugged.
I can hear you. I mean, you definitely. I mean, I can still hear you. I think we should stop.
Let's do another
I
one.
think we should stop our Audacity recording so something tragic happens, and we'll start a new one.
All right. Sorry
Stop
about this,
this one.
guys.
No, you're fine. That actually sounded
Sounded
fine
really
just
clear
now.
just now.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I think you fixed
I
it.
think so.
So what I did is I flicked the switch, chick, chick, and I unplugged it, boop, boop, and there we go.
All
That's
right,
the technical
that's
term
what
for
I
everything.
It's back to work.
What I said. Turn it off and turn it back on.
Basically, 42 minutes.
All right. So are we going to export this Audacity and start a new
I
one?
didn't stop mine. Did you stop yours?
I haven't
Oh, yeah.
stopped
I
mine.
stopped mine, but I can
All right.
go back again.
No,
Mine's
no.
at 43
No,
minutes.
no. Just stop. Everybody stop.
All right. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Everyone stop. Okay.
Yes, everybody stop. Go ahead and save the
This is
project.
why we used to have a technical difficulties Utini screen.
That is exactly why we used to.
We don't anymore, though, and this is a lot.
All right, I'm stopping.
Yeah, I did too.
So are we gonna go ahead and export now too? Because this is gonna take a minute.
I don't think I would export it. I would just save the project. Actually, you know what? Go ahead and export it. I don't want any catastrophes happening.
You're right.
Yep.
You're right.
Can we vamp? We just vamped for like 18 minutes.
Vamp, 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 vamp.
So this is 46 part 1.
All right, let me go back to this screen again.
Let me export this.
All right, welcome to the live show, everybody. This is where
Sorry, guys.
this is where the doo-doo happens. We will be back to normal talking about Star Wars in approximately 5 minutes. But I'm leaving you live so you can see us rage on camera. Carrie,
You know what? Maybe I was about to mention Queen Shadow. Maybe that's what was that
Nice.
it was Kara Jax. That's exactly it. Hilariously, I am getting a new mic and a new computer soon, so we'll see how that
this,
goes.
This is a good segment because, Eric, I wasn't prepared to answer your question when you asked me to talk about the reading order, and I was very unhappy with the intro that I just gave. So,
Great. So we're gonna start literally from the break and go.
yeah, that's what we should do. Make it easier.
So
on-
you all know the secret. Don't tell. Don't tell anyone what we actually did. Jeez, man.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Literally, I was leaning back. The cord didn't get nudged. Nothing happened. It just like.
there was a clicking, like a breaker was getting clipped or something. What is this? What is this?
This is. I'm so glad I figured this out.
You missed it. You missed it, Corey.
What was
Wes
it?
Wes and I bonded over the Irma Gersperm meme from back in the day.
Gersperms.
All right,
It isn't situated
I'm just
right.
gonna pretend like this is not happening right now.
Oh, man. Should we just
Oh.
play that song that I told you about, Wes, while we
I was
wait?
trying to listen to
Elevator
it.
And of course, this is the night where we're saying, "Yep, we're doing Aftermath, no matter what. We're doing it."
We're doing it.
This is Aftermath.
Yeah, right. Our Aftermath is in the middle of it all.
Everything looks like crap on the screen that I'm sharing because I'm not usually using 4 views. I had to switch it back. Let me go back to this one so it actually looks normal. Okay, everybody, welcome to the Living Force.
Is that because you're from Tennessee? Is
See,
that what that is?
That's better.
Are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see.
Oh God.
Testing, testing, testing.
I think I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Testing, testing, testing. All right, I'm ready to start again. Is everybody ready?
All right, hold on. I'm just
I'm not ready.
closing out here.
I'm sorry, I was texting.
Wait,
You
did you
texting.
export it all?
I exported it, yeah. On my fancy new computer. You want to see my new color scheme?
Desperately.
It's pretty in blue. The camera will switch back to me. There it is. It's blue and
The
pink.
same as last time.
That
Not,
is
this is
exact same as
different. It
last
was
time.
purple and blue last time, you ignorant Uramus. Yeah.
Say it, you coward.
Way to
All
stay
right.
PG.
What else?
All right.
I know, it was,
Why don't you
it was
put
hard.
plants
Did you hear me
inside of your
hesitate?
clear
Listen, my
computer?
plants.
Make the computer a
That's a
terrarium.
terrible idea. You out of your mind? Here's my. Hold on. I gotta get the camera.
Crap.
Like my throat. Here's my plants. There they are, looking healthy. We got a Bella Palm, a Neanthbella. Is a scientific name for that. We also have a
All right.
white rabbit's foot fern.
Wonderful. Great.
Plants.
All right, we're ready to talk about Star Wars again.
It's like,
Let's give this a shot.
Plants. Talk about plants.
All right. Cue Audacity again. Ready, guys?
yeah.
Three.
Give me 6 seconds.
All right.
God.
All right. Starting record. Is everybody ready?
Jesus.
Everybody ready?
No, Wes needs 6
Wes?
seconds.
Okay.
6
I mean, I'm
seconds.
ready.
All right,
I've been
no,
ready.
Close
All right.
Audacity. No. Close Audacity all together. Close it and reopen the
Close
program,
it.
everybody. Yes.
Done.
100%. Close that
Oh,
shiz.
gosh.
Do what I say. I am the Senate. And the
Are you sure you want to permanently delete the file Charles-episode 46?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that sounds
I don't know, Charles.
sounds
Are you?
right.
Are you sure you exported it and you saved the project?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh, my
man.
blood pressure just went up.
Low hanging fruit, guys. I'm getting loopy. Let's finish this up.
All right.
Do it.
I'm getting delirious. All right. Everybody ready? Hurry up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Starting recording in 3, 2, 1, and
Now.
go.
And we are back. Oh, our audio friends, you just missed roughly, 15, 20 minutes of technical jargon, but we are back with our second half of the show. We are going to talk about all things Youtini reading order. Corey, would you kindly tell our listeners, what is the Youtini reading order? Why did we create it? And what sets it apart from other reading orders they may find on the good old internet?
Why, Eric, I would love to do that. And not just like
Thank
I
you.
just did it, like less than 10 minutes ago. I'll say it all again. All right. So
Woohoo!
the intro that you guys
Wahoo!
missed. Oh, man. That was like Mario mixed with Han Solo.
That's what I was going for. Yeah.
Perfect. So when we first started Youtini a long time ago, we originally started getting the question literally all the time, what order should I read Star Wars books in? And I swear I've answered this question probably 1,000 times. The simple answer to this question is whatever the hell order you want to read it in. All right. Star Wars books are Star Wars books, and you can't really go wrong, right? That being said, if you do want to choose some type of arbitrary order, the two most common orders that are recommended are chronological order and publishing order. Now, there are a number of problems with both of these, which we can go into here in just a second. But we just weren't happy with them, really, at all. So we decided to create our own order, the Youtini reading order. And what the Youtini reading order is sort of an organization of the books in some way, shape, or fashion that resembles kind of quality, but also importance, and also how easy the book is to read. There's a number of things that go into the order that we'll talk about here shortly. The biggest of which is simply the fact that it makes sense. It's kind of a fun way to read Star Wars books, and we think it's better than publishing order and chronological order. So the first thing I want to talk about is chronological order and publishing order. So guys, have either one of you guys read anything? Did you ever try to read Star Wars books like that?
I
No.
never did. No, I did what you did. I mean, fans of the podcast will know my first book way back when was The Young Jedi Knights, just because I thought it looked cool. And then when I came back to Star Wars books in about 2016, 2017, it was just Lost Stars because I heard it was great. So I've always been pretty arbitrary. I mean, no one's as arbitrary as you were, Corey.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I started in the 9th book of a 9-book series, right?
Yeah.
And it was the first one I read, and it's a miracle I kept reading after that. And a lot of that is kind of the reason that we created the order in the first place. I mean, you guys have heard us harp on the Youtini Foundational 5, which are the 5 best books you should start with. But where you go from that is kind of up in the air, and we've tried to hopefully bridge that gap a little bit with what we've created here. Charles,
Yeah.
Wes, what about you guys? You ever tried to read in some type of weird order?
No, I thought that sounded like a bad idea. I started Paradise Snare, and I never looked back. I always went to the store, picked something up. If it looked good, I read it, and
Yeah.
here I am.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I started with Heir to the Empire. I looked up, I even just Googled, where should I start?
Yeah.
And I didn't see Youtini pop up, because if I did, I would have read that. But I didn't. So that's where I started, Heir to the Empire.
Yes, I
Yeah,
don't know if it's like maybe it's a certain type of personality type that is really wanting to start with some kind of order. It seems like people read 1 or 2 Star Wars books and they want just some sort of rhyme or reason to keep going.
Yeah, I know. Adam Dyson, one of our buddies, our Australian buddy, he reads chronologically. He's been in the middle of a chronological read for, I don't know, probably over a year now at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's just been going through, and he really enjoys it. And he
also takes breaks. He does an interesting kind of.
Yes.
It seems like he takes breaks to come and participate with the community on new books and stuff, and that's kind of a good way to put it.
Yeah. So again, we always want to make sure that we make it clear both the publishing and chronological are options. Totally. We just find that they are more of a deterrent than a positive.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So, kind of the thing that I want to backtrack a little bit. And if you're asking me now, yes, we have the Utini reading order, and this is like a rough order that you can read Star Wars books in. But if you ask me the straight question, what order should you read Star Wars books? My first question in response to that is going to be, have you ever read a Star Wars book? And if the answer is no to that, this is what I'm going to tell you. So let's take a step back even from the Utini reading order and talk about reading Star Wars books in general. So if you've never read a Star Wars book, this is now the order that I and Utini at this point recommend. We formally recommend you read the books in. And the first step is starting with Utini Foundational 5. We've already talked about this extensively on the show, on our website. It's everywhere. It's really hard to avoid. The Foundational 5 are the first 5 Star Wars books we say you should read. So just to briefly recap, that is Kenobi, the Darth Bane first book, The Heir to the Empire, the first book of the Thrawn trilogy, the Revenge of the Sith novelization, and Lost Stars. You have to pick one to read first. It's generally Lost Stars is the one we'll recommend. And these are there's a lot of reasons we pick these books. They're accessible, they're entertaining, they're really high quality, and they have like very little background knowledge needed to get into, which is why we recommend them first.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about the Foundational 5 too is that whereas the order we're going to give you in a second is more like number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 on and so on and so forth. The Foundational 5 kind of branches off. Like if you start with Lost Stars, then you can branch off to this. If you start with Kenobi, then you'll do a different this. If you start out with Thrawn, same thing. So the Foundational 5 is kind of finding your individual taste, whereas this reading order is more of, well, if you're not sure what your taste is at all, we can just go from like 1 to 300.
Yeah, so Heather just brought up a really interesting comment in the comments here. She said her coworker asked her what she would recommend, and she actually told her coworker to read Dark Disciple because she likes Clone Wars a great deal and really likes Ventress, and that's a perfectly fine way to pick up her Star Wars book.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfectly. In fact, that's how most of us came to Star Wars. But if you're asking me, what should I start with? I have a recommendation. It's a standard recommendation that I kind of think fits to the largest population, right? So it's perfectly reasonable to start with whatever you want, right? And like I said, the best way to read Star Wars books is just to read Star Wars books. So, that's kind of what I think about that, and I think you should read what you want. Step 2, after you read the foundational books, and this is kind of, you're going to notice that this reading order recommendation is not just like you read in this order. It's kind of a broader thought than that. Number 2 is to read all the newest novels within 30 days of their release. Now, this is really, really huge that nobody ever talks about for some reason when they're talking about reading new Star Wars books, is reading the newest stuff as it comes out. There's so much hype on Twitter, on Reddit, on the internet, in our Discord community. There's a ton of hype about new books that are coming out. So I think that it's kind of foolish to recommend that you read Star Wars books without considering the newest things that have just hit the market. Now, it's funny, the post on our website that's about reading in this order, like 2 of the books that are here is Shadowfall, which is the second of the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, and also Thrawn Ascendancy, which is the first of a trilogy. So you can kind of see how that would be a problem, maybe, right? If you've never read a Star Wars book, you pick up the second in a trilogy, sometimes that can be confusing, right? Which is why we say start with the foundational books. But it's so much fun to participate with the community. I think you're really, really, really missing out if you stick to some kind of order like chronological or publishing, because you're just not catching the new stuff right as it comes out.
Yeah. Now, real quick detour from this, because Rob Neese in our chat just posted a great question that I wanted to answer real quick. He said, can someone who has never seen a Star Wars movie get into the universe via the books? Have any of you guys ever encountered someone like this? Rob, I'm dating that person. Literally, before we were dating, we were just hanging out, and she knew I liked Star Wars a lot. And she was like, hey, you read these books all the time, right? What's really good? Because I was like, oh, you like stuff. And I was like, you know what? Try reading Lost Stars. I literally gave her Lost Stars because I said, even if you don't know anything about the trilogy, I think that it is a great character work. It gets you into the universe super well, and you can fall in love with the mythos of Star Wars. And she did. And all this time now, we've been together for a while. She's seen all the movies. She reads a ton of books. But that book, like, she loves Tarkin as one of her favorite characters because of that. She saw him in that before she saw him in A New Hope. So if you do find someone that has never seen Star Wars at all, I know for a fact from my personal experience that Lost Stars is a great entryway into that.
Yeah.
And I don't know any other book like that, frankly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, especially because there's characters we haven't seen in the films is a big part of
Mhm.
that. So that's
So I
really
just want to answer that real quick.
That's really
Great question.
cool. So, getting into Star Wars books, step 1, read the foundational 5. Step 2 is read new stuff as it comes out. Step 3 and 4 kind of go together. Number 3 is simply use the Utini reading order, which we're going to go into here in just a second. But number 4 is pick books based on what you like. And so we talk about this all the time. We want you to read Star Wars books, read what you want to read, right? And we're going to give you this ideal reading order, or what we consider an ideal reading order, the Utini reading order. But you should still cherry pick your books from this order. Now, on our website, it's going to be a numbered order. So if you truly want just an arbitrary order of 1 through 100, then you can read it in this order. And we have organized it in a way that will make sense for you to read it in that order. But I still think that you should pick things, you should cherry pick your books. And let's go into the reading order right now and talk about why cherry picking makes sense. So
Let's do it.
The biggest, so going into the Utini reading order, I have answered the question, why do we create it? And let me explain to you exactly what it is now, because I've talked in circles around it a great deal. So
Just a bit.
The Utini reading order is not just 1 through 100 straight up. Okay, so we've looked at every single Star Wars book by hand. This has taken months, by the way. We've looked at every single Star Wars book and sort of categorized it into a level. There are 4 levels here. Eric, you want to run through these really quick?
I would love to, real quick. Level 1. We start with your must-reads. They're the best books to read first. Like Corey said earlier, they combine highest quality, importance to the EU as a whole, and they're just fun, right? If you're trying to find the best parts of both canons and legends, that's level 1. Level 2 goes to should read. They're still very good. Nothing wrong with just being good. They may not necessarily be perfect as those above them, but they're very high quality and are a lot of fun for the reader. If you are done with kind of the best parts of level 1, level 2 is still going to give you a great experience. Level 3, you can read, right? They're still pretty good. You want to get through level 1 and level 2 first, because that's where your highest enjoyment is going to be. But level 3, they can vary dramatically in quality, and they're pretty average. But if you like, you know what? They're still Star Wars books. Star Wars is still on the cover. You're still going to like them. Level 4, there's very, very, very few books in level 4. These are our canned skips. They're usually controversial. They're occasionally just kind of bad. They've aged not well, or they're disliked by the community. Now, it doesn't mean you won't enjoy them. We want to make that clear. All these books, no matter about our ranking, you may like, and that's awesome. But consider level 4 your level of diminishing returns.
Yeah. So 4 levels, definitely read ones that you probably should read, ones that you can read if you really get to them, and then the last level is obviously books you can skip. So unlike chronological order and publishing order, which have some major drawbacks, the biggest being that they simply are just in a straight order. You got to read them start to finish in this arbitrary order. Ours is broken up into these big giant categories that we think that make more sense for you to pick and choose from, just because they're not so arbitrarily linear. So let's run through these a little bit. So the first level is literally just what you should absolutely read. Now, there's a lot of books in this order. We have changed this order 1,000 times. Seriously, we keep changing this thing around just because we all have such differing opinions on what this is. So I'm gonna run through what you guys think, the first 15. Just name them real fast. We can kind of swing through. I guess some of
Let's
them.
do 10 at a time. And we'll do top 10. We'll chat about them. Then we'll do the next 10, chat about them, and see how we go. What do you think?
I think it's perfect. Now, remember, the thing about this is you should pick and choose books that you want to read, right? So as long as you're kind of roughly sticking to the same level, I think you'll have a good time reading in this order. So number 1, Lost Stars. Number 2, Revenge of the Sith. Number 3, Kenobi. Number 4 is Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. She also wrote Lost Stars, and Master and Apprentice is probably my personal favorite Star Wars book. I really did enjoy it. Then we have Bloodline. We have the Darth Bane books, all 3 of those. Then number 9 is Thrawn, the first of the, not really Thrawn trilogy, I don't know what you would call it.
The new canon Thrawn.
Yeah, the new canon Thrawn series, I guess is a better way to put it, because it's not really an official trilogy. And then lastly, number 10 is Dooku Jedi Lost, right? So these are the top 10 books that you should consider reading first.
Yeah, and what I like about the top 10 here is that it's basically half and half canon and legends. You get, admittedly, 3 Claudia Gray books, because we can all agree she's pretty much the top. But then you get a novelization in there. You get some and then a lot of character specifics. Dooku Jedi Lost, the Thrawn book, all 3 Bane books, and Kenobi are all focused on individual characters.
Yeah.
Now, Charles, I want to ask you, why do you think it's so important for us to have canon and legends mixed so well? Because I know a lot of these lists like to differentiate them at the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to even think of like canon without legends for those of us at least that have been around for it, because it really grew out of that. It's in a similar way. It's thinking about like if you were just to watch the original trilogy, that's a self-contained story, but you're missing out on all the prequels and all the sequels. Like there's a lot more out there. So, a lot of things, even like Thrawn, for instance, he was a Legends character and now he's canon. But I think it's important to actually understand really where he came from the Legends side of things. So I think it helps for kind of a multitude of reasons. But, we've always been very staunch supporters of Legends because they're just stories. They're just fun.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no reason to write them off just because they're not within any certain specifications of what's official versus not official. Like if you like a good story, Legends will give you those just as often as canon.
Yeah. That's
100%.
That's a really good point. Legends is really important, and there's a pretty good mix of both canon and Legends in our top 10. Just looking at this page, too, something else you're going to notice as you scroll through this page, once you can totally find it, you can get to it, by the way, by going to youtini.com/list/youtini-reading order. That'll take you straight to the page. You can also just go to the website and search for reading order, and you'll find it. We haven't promoted it super hard. We're kind of revealing it for the first time on the show. But it's definitely on the site. You can find it. One thing you will definitely notice about this is it's not sorted just by rating and review. In fact, there are lots of books that have what you might even consider lower ratings that are in this level 1. And there's some low 8s, there's some 7s, there's some kind of scary colors like yellow that pop up on this page as you're reading through it, because the quality of the book or what the review of the book is not necessarily reflective of when you should read it. Books have importance that are not incredible. Given, I think everything that's in this level 1 is incredible. Anything above a 7 is 100% worth reading. But yeah, there's some kind of more lower rated books, I guess you could say, from our team in this order. So through the next 10 real fast. We have Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say last thing about the top 10. These are also probably from, I'd say 1 to 15, 1 to 20 are the ones that a lot of times on this show and in the circles of, Star Wars book fans are ones that get mentioned the most. These are the ones that, like, if you want to say, I want to catch up to figure out what people are referencing or figure out, what the giant conversation is, these top 10, especially, these are kind of some staples for you.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say a good way to think about that is we don't like to gatekeep Star Wars books at all or gatekeep Star Wars at all. But if you read the first 10 books on this list, you can 100% say the blanket statement, I read Star Wars books, because you're going to, you'll know enough about the expanded universe from reading these 10 books that you can participate in our show and understand what we're talking about. And you're in, right? You're in the secret Star Wars club, right? If you read the top
100%.
10, because these books are just such textbook. The next 10 are very interesting. These books we talk about less on the show. We do mention them frequently, but some of them we've never talked about at all, like Leia, Princess of Alderaan. Have you guys both read this?
Yeah, I love that one.
By Claudia Gray. Charles, have you read this one?
I have not. It's still on my bookshelf behind me, though.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan is an excellent book. We have an 8.9 for this one on our site, and it's number 11 on the list. Kind of high up there for a canon book that you wouldn't really expect. Next, we have Darth Plagueis, Most Wanted, Dark Disciple, Heir to the Empire series. Catalyst is up there. I don't think both of you guys have read Catalyst either. I don't think.
I read Catalyst. I read it a while back. That was one of my first Lucinos, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finish it off with Alphabet Squadron and then Paradise Snare at number 20 that leads into the Han Solo trilogy.
Yeah, so all three. We keep series together, too, on our list order. We think that's kind of important. If you're going to read a series, you should probably read the whole series start to finish. Now, if you're reading a huge series like the X-Wing series, read 5 books and take a break because there's like 10. But that's definitely an option.
For sure. But yes, I like that second group of 10 too, because it kind of gives you a little more variety. You got your young adult novels with Princess of Alderaan and Most Wanted. You got Plagueis, which is like the densest novel of all time, and Catalyst, which is also a pretty dense novel. You got Dark Disciple, get you some Clone Wars. You got the original Thrawn trilogy, which is going to get you some of that classic Legends nostalgia. And then finally, Alphabet Squadron is getting you kind of the current state of canon as it gets a little darker. And then going into the Han trilogy for the kind of the last 15 in this book gets you a little bit of boost of fun. Like we try to make this a little variety as far as tone goes as well. So you're not just reading dark, heavy, we want to give you some light as well.
Totally. To finish out level 1, we'll just run through this one really fast. We have the Aftermath series. We have Phasma, which I know both of you guys have not read. We have Labyrinth of Evil, and Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. So, fun fact, I don't know that this is an official trilogy, but Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, and Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader are often called the Dark Lord trilogy. So
yeah, they're even combined, like sold as that.
Yeah,
in one
they are sold
version.
as that.
Yeah,
but none of the books are individually labeled as that. I don't think it's technically really a trilogy. There is James Luceno wrote both Labyrinth of Evil and Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader, but he did not write the novelization. Very interesting trilogy. They read. I read them like that. That was when I discovered that Revenge of the Sith was such an incredible book, and I loved this series. And it was one of the last Legends series that I ever read before we got new canon stuff. So fantastic series. Definitely recommend trying to read that like that. Last couple here, we have Thrawn Alliances, Thrawn Treason. These are two probably the lowest rated books, I think, in this level 1. It's no secret that we love Thrawn at Utini, but we don't like hero worship him, I guess, like the way a lot of folks do in the EU. Timothy Zahn is an incredible writer. We owe him a lot. We felt like his hands were tied a lot with these two books. So they're probably the lowest rated. Both of them have a 6.6. Next, we have Queen Shadow. Also has a 6.6, which I need to change because I need to update my review for Queen Shadow. I think I would bring this book higher now.
For sure.
That'll bring that up some. Then lastly, we have Resistance Reborn, which we already loved. 33 is Ahsoka. 34 is Outbound Flight, kind of an obscure Legends book that I don't think a lot of you guys have read, by Timothy Zahn. And then the last one in level 1 is Scoundrels, also by Timothy Zahn. So basically all of Timothy Zahn's books except for Choices of One, Allegiance, and then the Hand of Thrawn books, I think, are the only ones that he doesn't have in the top ones.
And one thing I want to point out in this one is Resistance Reborn, because when you go to this list, again, and we'll link to this list in the show notes as well, so you can get to it pretty easily. I think that'd be a smart thing for us to do, is you'll see Resistance Reborn has an 8.8. It's one of our highest rated books, but it's number 32 on this list. But that's because it references so many things in canon. Like, it is really cool to read all these different books ahead of it, because when you get to that novel, you will have the fullest experience. And that's one thing we really tried to get with this list, is how can you have, if you're just starting arbitrarily from the top, if you don't really care about being super recent, or you don't want to go all canon, all Legends, we want to kind of tailor the most fulfilling reading experience to you as possible, because that's the most fun way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And pick and choose from the list. I mean, look at this list and be like, all right, what do I like, what do I want to read, and just pick things. You can pick anything you want to. You don't have to stick to an order with reading in this order. I mean, just stick to level 1 in general. But if you read these top 35 books, essentially, I mean, you're going to be well-versed in basically everything we talk about on the show.
Easily. And one last thing about this, well, not last thing, one of the last things about this page, Corey did an incredible job designing this thing, because every single book on this list, when you go to this page,
I'll show it.
It shows you a 1 to 100 score on the plot, the characters, the originality, the writing, and the entertainment. That's our Utini review system. And if you just want to go to this list and find your book, you will see literally the breakdown of review for every single one of these books in every single tier. So if you want to know, I'm in the mood for something really character-based, but I want to go level 1, or I've done all that in level 1, I want to go to level 2, you can go to that specific criteria and check that out. So we really want you to have as easy as a time reading, because you should spend all your time reading Star Wars books. You should not spend all your time deciding which Star Wars book to read.
Yes. Yes. Now, that being said, let's talk about some of the controversies that are in the Utini reading order list.
Oh, no! Why? Let's do it.
All right. Where is I, Jedi? I'm sure you're all trying to ask the question, where did I allow everybody to put I, Jedi? Let me find it. I'm pretty sure that I, Jedi is in level 3.
I think it's in level 3.
I want to make sure.
It's in level 5.
It's in level 5.
It's off the chart.
Not only should you read it, you shouldn't acknowledge that it exists.
But hilariously, I, Jedi, one of the big reasons we did this list, listeners, for those of you that may not know, I, Jedi is probably Corey's least favorite book. We've had a long history with this book. The number one list that comes up when you search best Star Wars book reading order is a Forbes article that lists I, Jedi as one of the top 10 Star Wars books of all time.
3. He says it's one of the top 3 books of all time. I'm just like, What?
And
20
Corey was like, I will create an entire web page database.
Yes, I thought I was gonna.
That
have
guy
a
has
stroke.
never read any of the books that are on the
He
list.
can't. There's no way he has. He calls iJedi a masterpiece. And listen, I have my qualms about iJedi, but the fact that it's written in first person, is the only Star Wars book that's written in first person, is alone enough reason to not include it on a top 10 list. Like, people really, really like iJedi. I fully acknowledge that. It's almost a joke that I dislike it because I honestly probably don't hate it as much as I act like. It's really more of an inside joke at Utini that Corey despises iJedi. But to include it on a top 10, a top 5 list of Star Wars books ever, of stuff that you should read first, there's a lot of things missing from this. He's not in any of the films. Corran Horn isn't. He's an obscure character that was created in a different series entirely, and he references gigantic major plot points that happen in other books in this book. So I don't think that fits any criteria for books that you should read first when you're coming to Star Wars.
Right. So at the end of the day, we hope that this list will help you. If you are, like a lot of you, have friends that want to get into Star Wars books and are a little intimidated, as we all were when we started. Again, a big reason why Utini started in the first place. We can say, hey, here's a list of all the books. There's a lot of them, but don't freak out. Here's a couple to start your way. If you want to follow the whole reading order, oh my God, feel free. If you want to do the first 3, if you want to do the first 10, if you want to jump straight to level 2, whatever you want to do, and then jump maybe to our collections to find a character that you fall in love with, that's awesome.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you should never be afraid when you're reading. You should be stoked, and we really hope that this reading order is going to help you get even more stoked, and just click one of those buy links right under those books.
That's right.
Because they're all affiliate links. Haha, that's the trap. If you do click any of the Amazon links or Audible links or eBay links or Thrift Books links, which are super cheap way to get some of these books,
which we have never talked about.
I mean,
before.
we'll get a couple cents.
We've never talked about this before. So we've always had Amazon links on our site. We have never had Ebu. We've never had Ebu links. That sounds like a Star Wars planet. We have never had eBay or Thrift Book links. So if you like buying used books, you like getting them super cheap, whether that's from eBay or Thrift Books, we have some links. We're still working on getting all those links built. You can buy them there too. So check out the Utini reading order page. We put a lot of work into this. We think it is a pretty good way to read. I hope that it is not too wishy-washy. So I think sometimes you're like, well, you could read these or these or these. I kind of worry that is not what people are looking for. So we will see.
Yeah.
But
we want to give you freedom, but also it's an order.
It is an order.
We hope it's a nice
balance. It is an order. It's just not. It's not an arbitrary order. I don't think. When you're stuck reading in chronological order, you're going to get burnout on reading about the Clone Wars. When you've read 20 books in a row about the Clone Wars, you want to read something else, and you feel trapped, like you can't read anything else because you're not done with that era yet, and that's frustrating. You're missing out on a huge part of the Star Wars community, and I'm simply afraid that you're not going to have the best Star Wars reading experience. So check out the reading order. I hope you like it.
Absolutely. Well, my friends, we hope you enjoy the reading order. We hope you enjoy everything coming out. And in this reading order, we are going to try to update as every new book comes out. We'll see where it fits. Maybe there's a book that jumps up to the top of tier 1. Maybe there's a book that is new but goes in level 2. And we'll try to address that as we can, because this year we got a lot of amazing books coming out. Just as a quick reminder, coming up on the 17th of this month, I believe, is the Rise of Skywalker novelization. From everything we've heard, you are not going to want to miss this one. We'll be talking about it on this show when it comes out and doing a full roundtable on it. We also got Queen's Peril for all your Padme action that's coming out in June. We got Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising coming out in October. We got Poe Dameron Free Flight coming out. We got the High Republic starting with Light of the Jedi coming out in August. And that's not to mention all the comics in the meantime.
Good Lord.
Y'all, I can't wait. I'm so freaking excited.
Every time you read this list, I can feel my blood pressure go up.
That was all from the top of the noggin, man.
It's impressive.
I wasn't reading anything.
Impressive. Most impressive.
And in the meantime, we will be here every single week on this show, and every single week on Bounty Hunt, talking about Clone Wars if you want more of that as well. But on that, my friends, thank you for tuning in. That is going to do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe to this show wherever you get your podcast. Tune in every week to us at UTN Talk about the Star Wars Expanded Universe. If you want to buy some of those books we just talked about and want to support this site, look up your book on Utini, click the Amazon link or the eBay link or the Thrift Books link, and we'll get a few cents to help keep the lights on around here. If you want to help us out most directly, you can find us on patreon.com/Utini or on TeePublic, where our t-shirts are available, including our We Are Brave, Your Highness shirt from Queen's Shadow and an upcoming shirt coming soon. If you are at the Inquisitorious level or above, you are invited to our Aftermath after show. We're going to be there just hanging out for a little bit, just kind of talking about all things Star Wars or terrariums. We'll see what happens. We will see you there in just a second. A special thank you to Drew Ibarrando and Patrick Ortiz and our Jedi High Council, and Timothy Dunlap and Ross Orlando on our Alliance High Command for your amazing support of this show. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Charles is at C. Henkel. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Freddie, our producer, Wes, our community manager, our man in the chair, our Texas lover. Thank you to Corey and Charles and Wes for podcasting with me. And as always, may the Force be with you.